In this video, I want to share something rather simple. It's my answer to what I think is the easiest way to take a good portrait. Now, what I say might sound a bit obvious, maybe even a little too obvious for some, but it is something that took me many years to understand. And if it took me that long, I figure someone else out there might still be trying to figure it out too. So I'm sharing this tip in the hope that it saves you some time and helps push your portrait photography forward. That's the goal, nice and simple. So without any further ado, let's get into it. The tip I have to take a good portrait is to work with a good model. Now, again, I know it's simple, maybe even a bit trite, but I really do stand by this advice, and it has been the single most significant factor in changing the way I shoot portraits. If I can make a connection, there's a line I once heard from the acclaimed film director Paul Thomas Anderson, where he said that 90% of making a good movie to him is just casting the right actor. And if he gets that part right, he says his job is basically done after that. And to be honest, I feel the same way about taking portraits. If I cast a good model for the shoot, then I'm pretty much good to go after that. Before moving on though, I think it's important to define what I mean by a good model. To me, what makes a good model isn't necessarily how they look, but more so how they think. I guess another way to put it is if they share the same sensibilities as me, if they see the world in a similar way as me, that is to me what makes a good model. Because when I'm able to find someone like that, that's when things begin to click and the photos, without the need of many words, begin to take care of themselves. For example, on set during a shoot, I've often found myself saying really vague things like, let's make it feel more model-y, or let's go for something more calm or peaceful. And look, I'll be the first to admit those aren't the best directions. These phrases could be interpreted in 1,000 different ways depending on who's receiving them. But when you have found the right model or muse, if you will, those vague words will somehow show up exactly as you saw them in your head. And you don't have to over-explain or over-direct every movement because they will see what you see and they feel what you feel. And you both are working to communicate a similar vision to your audience. And that's when portraits have the possibility of operating at their highest potential, in my opinion, when you can make your audience feel something. Which leads me to this part. All the clips and photos you've seen in this video are with the same model. Her name is Julia, and over the years, I found that for me, she fits the mold for everything I've described and I'm looking for in a good model. I know that kind of artistic connection is not something one just really stumbles upon. So if and when you find that kind of person, I think it's important to acknowledge how lucky you are and to try to hold on to and nurture that relationship as best you can. If I could draw a parallel, it makes me think of how certain directors always work with the same actors. Think Scorsese, De Niro, Wes Anderson, Bill Murray, Paul Thomas Anderson, Philip Seymour Hoffman, or keeping things Korean, Bong Joon-ho and Song Kang-ho. I bet all of those duos at some point have thought something like, hey, we've made good work together in the past. Why not roll the dice and try it again? It makes sense to me, and I know that's why I do it. And with enough time, if you're being mindful and looking out for it, maybe you can find that creative partner as well, where everything will click for the two of you. Okay, that's going to do it for this one. Like I said, nice and simple short one. I hope you found the video to be helpful. If you did, consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.